Today, we're going to talk about something that surrounds us every day, but often goes unnoticed. This thing that surrounds us and influences us and can often affect our decisions and maybe affect them subconsciously. This thing is marketing. And what's more, the more you start to understand how Facebook, Instagram, and even Google operate, well, these platforms are essentially created for marketing. Their whole business model is to create the perfect place for advertisers where they can accurately target customers based on interests, age, and all manner of other criteria. And as Facebook and Google track our internet behavior in so many ways, you could argue that these platforms know us better than we know ourselves. So in many ways, when we log on to social media, we are walking right into a battlefield of advertisements that have become better and better at getting us to buy. Therefore, it's probably worthwhile to take a closer look at marketing's effect on our lives. Because while marketing plays a crucial role in promoting products and services, it also has its downsides. And today, it's these downsides I want to look at. I want to look at a few of the negative effects of marketing. The 5 negative effects I've chosen to look at are manipulation, unrealistic standards, wasteful consumption, financial burdens, and lastly, invasion of privacy. So without further ado, let's look at the first, manipulation tactics. Marketing often employs various tactics to influence our thoughts and behaviors. One common tactic, as I'm sure you've felt for yourself, is emotional manipulation. Obviously, advertisers use emotions like fear, envy, or desire to persuade us to buy their products. For example, have you ever felt like you needed to buy something just because it was on sale? As I'm sure you noticed, most advertisements have some deadline or act now in the next 24 hours to receive this once-in-a-lifetime discount. Advertisers need to create a sense of scarcity so that we act immediately, and that's the power of marketing manipulation at work. One personal example I have is Black Friday. For those of you who don't know, Black Friday is the Friday after Thanksgiving, which is a big American holiday that takes place on the 4th Thursday in November. So Thanksgiving is always on Thursday. And for Americans, Black Friday is the official beginning of Christmas. Once Thanksgiving is celebrated, then we are officially allowed to turn all our focus and attention to the coming Christmas holiday. I live in Germany, and it's interesting for me to see that Black Friday is now a big event here as well. Even though Germans, of course, don't celebrate Thanksgiving, but they are totally happy to celebrate the more consumer holiday of Black Friday, when a lot of products go on sale. This year, I felt like I needed to buy something because on Black Friday, I knew there would be great prices and once-a-year deals. And even though I was only kind of interested in buying a PlayStation 5, I felt enormous pressure to get it because I knew the price would never be cheaper. But then I soon discovered I would also need to purchase a better TV so that the full capabilities of the PlayStation 5 could be displayed. So yeah, then I started to research TVs and to look for good deals on 4K TVs. Well, I'm happy to report I eventually decided not to buy anything because I actually realized what was going on in my mind, the power that Black Friday had over me. It's also true that sometimes companies will inflate their prices. This means that they'll make their prices falsely higher than they really are. And then they put a 40% discount on this fake higher price. So it seems like you're getting a much bigger discount than in reality. The second negative effect of marketing is the unrealistic standards they impose or put on us. Advertisements, as we know, often show idealized images of beauty, success, and happiness. And these images are designed to make us feel inadequate or dissatisfied with our lives. For instance, we all know the advertisements where we see flawless models, which can sometimes make us feel like we're not good enough as we are. This is true for me as well. I'm relatively athletic, and I'm in pretty good shape, but I'm also over 40 years old, and I have a little bit of a gut. But that's the thing. It's when I compare myself to the people I see on protein powder ads who have perfectly shaped six-packs. Then, when I look in the mirror, my six-pack is not nearly as nice as theirs. And then I'm not satisfied with where I'm at or with who I am. By the way, six-pack, it refers to something you can buy beer or Coca-Cola in, but it also refers to the stomach muscles or abs. Another negative effect of marketing is the wasteful consumption it contributes to. Constant exposure to advertisements convinces us that we need more and more products to be happy. Indeed, the advertiser's entire job is to create a desire and a feeling of lack or not having enough. This leads to overconsumption and contributes to environmental problems like pollution and resource depletion. Think about how often you've bought something only to realize later that you didn't really need it. Can you think of any examples for yourself? Personally, I could easily purchase too many shoes. I have no practical need for these shoes, but I want to buy them anyway because they look cool. Fortunately, I can afford to buy new shoes, but this isn't the case for everyone, which brings us to marketing's next negative effect. Financial burden. A burden, by the way, is a word that means that something is difficult to bear or something is difficult to manage, which often causes hardship or trouble. So, advertisements often promote spending beyond our means. In other words, they want us to buy things we can't afford. And they do this through strategies like buy now, pay later, so that we spend beyond our means. Obviously, this leads to debt and financial stress as we struggle to keep up with the lifestyle that's displayed in ads. A pretty interesting example of this strategy to get people to pay more is by looking at Palessi shoes. You see, in 2018, a shoe store called Payless did something surprising. Payless Shoes, as their name suggests, is a store that sells very affordable shoes. Well, they opened a fancy-sounding store called Palessi in Los Angeles, and then invited people who love fashion to come and see their shoes. But here's the trick. The shoes were the very same ones you could find at the cheap Payless store. But at this fancy-sounding store called Palessi, they just had different names for the shoes, and of course, a higher price. Some even paid hundreds of dollars, which clearly shows how marketing can make us think something is worth more than it really is. So this brings me to my last negative effect of marketing. Invasion of privacy. As I mentioned at the start, with the rise of digital marketing, companies can now collect vast amounts of data about our online activities and then target us with personalized ads. I find it crazy sometimes that even if I only look at an advertisement on social media, I don't click on it, I just look. But the application seems to understand that I might be interested in this particular ad. And then more and more of these advertisements start showing up on my social media feed. Obviously, marketing and sales play an essential role for any company, so I don't pretend that we can get rid of advertising. I also don't think that marketing will slow down or change or be subject to tighter regulation anytime soon. Therefore, it's important for us as individual consumers to become aware of the ways we might be manipulated.